Hey guys, awakens here, doing another toy review now. It's been a while since I've done a few toy reviews, so I'm doing a few figures in one go. So in front of you, I have 4 Star Wars figures, well technically 3 Star Wars figures, but I'll get into that in a minute. So the figures I have for review are the Walmart exclusive 3 3/4 inch Black Series Finn, Rey, and Poe Dameron. Now, as you can see, there's another X-Wing pilot in there as well, which is the Asty, I think is how you pronounce his name. Basically, all that is I got a second Poe Dameron figure with the intention of using him as a fill-in for the Asty super articulated figure, because the normal regular basic release of that character is just a 5 points of articulated one. So I'll do a quick review on what I did, and I'll get into the review of the other ones straight away. So first off, we got Poe, Finn, and all he comes with is the blaster that he had in the movie. The kind of it's kind of a goldish silver. It's silver with kind of a goldish wash, and it has some blue highlights on it for the kind of for the laser itself. It's similar to Poe's one in the very start of the film, and it's similar to the ones that the Resistance fighters used throughout the film. Now, Finn comes in the Jakku style uniform. Pretty much, well, to be honest, he wears this throughout the entire film, so you can't just say it's from Jakku because he uses it. He doesn't seem to change his costume throughout the film. But he has the Resistance jacket, and he's basically wearing under the Stormtrooper undershirt stuff that when they take off their armor is what they look like underneath. And as I said in my previous reviews, these are actually supposed to be Stormtrooper boots. The only thing is they've been scuffed and weathered from being on Jakku. That's why they have the they don't look as white as they normally do, and that's why it has the kind of extra kind of weathering going up the legs. Articulation wise, he has ball jointed head. Now, the lightness on this one looks a little better than the previous 3 3/4 inch basic series, so I'll just get that out of the way first. It does have a waist, kind of ball joint at the waist. It doesn't really do much more than just a swivel. His coat is actually removable, but if you do remove it, you're left with the arms for the coat on the figure as well, so it looks out of place. But it is quite a nice sculpting. As far as I can tell, I think it's the exact same sculpt as the 4-inch basic series one. And then his arms are on ball joints, so they can move out, rotate all around, move out and in. His elbows articulate. And then for his hands, he does have swivel wrists, but he also has an extra hinge joint. Now, for Finn, his hinge joints go in, and it's the same on both hands. I think the only figure out of the entire range to have a different different positioning for the actual hands is Kylo Ren. Kylo's actually moves up and down as opposed to in and out. His hips are on a sort of a ball joint. Now, I know a lot of people seem to be not happy with the way the hips are done on these, and I can kind of see why they don't like them, because if you want to get the leg to go position forward, you have to swivel the hip all the way around. I did mention it in the Stormtrooper reviews, the way the hips are done on these figures. Unlike the 6-inch where the hip is connected and it has an extra swivel here, so that the leg, basically the upper part of the shin or upper part of the leg can still remain looking forward. You actually have to turn the leg all the way to the side and then twist the knee and shin, so he's actually getting in a forward position, and same for going backwards. It does limit their movement a bit, and it's the same for all the figures. So just a point to note out that it's the same articulation on all the figures. I do know people have had problems with getting Finn to stand up, and I have the same. I have tried kind of making his feet push forward a bit on the ankle, because the ankles do have a swivel and ankle joint, so hopefully I can get him to stand properly. He's a bit problematic just to get standing. So, onto the pole figure. The pole figure is pretty much a scaled down version of the 6-inch Black Series one as well. So, he comes with a removable helmet and it fits him quite well. He has the kind of upper waist swivel, but because of the hose piping it's hindered. He does have the straps, which are actually a separate piece, which I quite like. The arms again are the same as the Finn figure, so you got the same joints out in elbow joints, and you got the exact same connections for the wrist. The only thing is, because of the way the glove is sculpted, it kind of comes a bit over the joint, so it kind of hinders it a bit. And for hips, you got the same style hips. It's on a sort of slight ratchet, so you can get them into a slightly seated position. Now, I'm not sure how that will affect them for trying to get them into the X-Wing, as I don't have the Force Awakens X-Wing, so hopefully you can fit them into it, but I'm not too sure if you can. Unfortunately, the X-Wings over here I haven't really seen them too much, and I have seen the TIE Fighters, but the price point on the TIE Fighters are €80, so, and it's kind of a bit too pricey for me. He does come with his pistol, and it's the same pistol that came with the small 4-inch figure, and it fits both hands quite well, so you can get him into some cool firing positions. And the likeness to the actor doesn't look too bad. It's kind of looks like Oscar Isaac, but all in all, I just think it's a pretty good figure. I do wish we might at some point get the Poe in his resistance jacket that's similar to the one that Finn wears. So hopefully that might be on the cards. We won't know for another while on if we're getting any more Force Awakens figures in this line. Now, I'll just quickly do the Asty figure. I said it's the exact same Poe figure. All I did was swap the heads. Now, because the Asty figure's ball joint is a little bit bigger, what I did was I just stuffed some blue tack into the joint, and the head sits on it fairly tightly. And the other thing I did was I swapped the pistols around from the one that came with the Asty. It's the same sculpt as the Poe Dameron one, basically, but the paint apps is a slight bit better because there's a little bit more metallic paint work on it. But even though the characters in the film actually wear slightly different uniforms, it still works as a quick stand-in for it to have more super articulated X-Wing pilots. The last figure that I have is Rey. I quite like this figure. I know again the hips are sort of problematic on her. You have to turn her leg, basically you have to turn her entire hip sideways to get her to move her legs into a seated position. And because of the skirt piece, it does hinder a small bit of the actual articulation, but not too much. It is rubbery enough that it does, that can be manipulated out of the way. She comes with a good few accessories, more than the other figures. She comes with the backpack that she has in the film, and it has a slight bit of paint apps on the kind of canister at the side. She comes with her staff, which she uses quite a lot in the film, and it's quite a nice sculpting. It does have some paint apps. I think it has more paint apps on it than the standard basic one. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the basic Rey figures, so I can't really tell. Now, she does come with an alternate head, and the way you swap it is you actually have to take off her normal head and slide it up over her arm and then close it back down. and it's basically the way she appears when you first see her in the film, with her kind of scavenger outfit, it's called. She can actually still wear her backpack and have this hood piece on at the same time, and she has, I know, if I just take her headpiece back off again, and she has pretty much the same articulation as the other figures. Her waist joint is actually a little bit better because it's actually down at the bottom of her waist as opposed to a mid ab crunch. And then she has quite good articulated arms because her arms are quite thin. She can actually get just above the 90-degree angle with her arms. She also has the in and out on the wrist, but it's very... It looks a little odd because where the joints are, they didn't really do much paint apps on it. It's same with the ones on the feet. As you can see, her boots are all this kind of brown colour, but the hinges for her legs and even for her knees are the same colour plastic as the base colour for the figure, so it's this kind of cream beigey colour. So all in all, she is a really good figure, and the likeness for the actress Daisy Ridley is actually quite cool. Let me see if I can get it to focus. I actually quite like it. It's quite a good likeness, although the only thing I don't get is the rosy cheeks, because he didn't really have those in the film that much. Now, I did take some pictures of this figure with my big Millennium Falcon from the Legacy series, and when I was cleaning that out, I found one of my old lightsabers from A New Hope. So if you have just a spare lightsaber lying around, you can just throw it into her hand. If you want to recreate the scenes from the film, you can do the same with the lightsaber to give it to Finn as well. It's the same lightsaber throughout the film, so it doesn't really change, so you can give Finn the lightsaber as well, and he holds it pretty well as well. Most of the kind of general basic lightsabers will fit. I know there is another Rey figure coming out in the basic line that has just a 5 points articulation that has a lightsaber, but if you want to just give her, either Finn or her, a lightsaber, you can just use a basic one. Now the other thing I want to show off is I did get the armor up versions of Poe in his Resistance outfit and the Finn from the, I think it said the Starkiller base armor up it was. Now I did cut off the helmet from the Poe armor up figure, and just in case people want to see it, it does fit quite well on the Poe in X-Wing pilot uniform. The only thing is it doesn't have the clear yellow visor that his normal one does, but it does have the blue. It does have his blue. If I can get it to focus there, it does have the blue markings of that you see him first have. See the helmet that he first wears in the film, so it does have that. And then, in addition, for the Finn figure, he can wear the Finn's armor up piece quite well. It does fit him quite nicely. It's quite snugly. As you can see, you can maybe just make out his eyes. So you can bring it in a bit closer. You can just make out his eyes through the hole in the front of the mask, and it does just slip on and off. It's similar to the previous one. If you pull too hard, the parts will come apart. And just so you can see it, I did try him out with the remainder of the Poe Dameron. Let me just get it to focus. The Poe Dameron suit armor piece. As you can see, I took off. That's where the helmet was attached to, and I took it off. But the rest of the piece still is usable. So as you can see, you can have Finn with a jetpack should you want it. So there you go. It's just a quick review of all these figures. As I said, they are quite good. They're quite handy to get. I am planning on getting an extra Poe figure because there is another one of the X-Wing pilots due out, and I'm possibly going to try and track down another Finn figure so I can try and customize a Poe in Resistance uniform as opposed to his flight uniform. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review. I know it's been a while since I did one, and I've probably gone on and waffled on a bit in this one, but hopefully you enjoy it. Take care.